everyone, and welcome to Home Knitter's Studio. If you're new here, my name is Daria and I make do-it-yourself tutorials, videos about different handcrafts projects, home decoration and much more. Today is another macrame video and I'm going to talk about the question that I get asked quite a lot. How do I manage to keep the back of my macrame tapestries so clean and tidy? This topic is related to the way you change colors while knotting your macrame, so I'm going to talk about that too. I usually knot my pieces using vertical double half hitch knots, and when it gets to changing colors, this technique can be quite tricky. Back when I was starting out with macrame, I couldn't really find a lot of information online on how to do it and what's the proper way to secure the loose ends at the back of my tapestry. The method that I was using back then had quite a lot of limitations, so over time I came up with my own. I can't really say which of these two methods is better. It will depend a lot on your personal preferences, how detailed your macrame is going to be and how many colors you're going to use and many other factors. That's why today I'm going to show you both methods of changing colors and a few ways to clean up the back of your tapestry. So let's jump right into it. I will call the first method changing colors at the point where you need them. In the bottom left corner of the screen you will see the scheme of the row I'm currently working on. Each square represents one double half hitch knot. If you have a look at the design, you can see that I need to start this row with 3 orange double half hitch knots. Once I get to knot number 4, I need to switch to white cord. To do that, I simply cut a piece of white cord and make a double half hitch knot, as if I would have started a completely new project. I then make another 4 white knots. Once I get to the point where I need to start making orange knots again, I cut a piece of orange cord and attach it, making a double half hitch knot. I then finish off this row by making 6 more orange knots. Let me repeat the exact same row in a slight variation. Like before, I start the row by making 3 orange knots. I then attach a piece of white cord and make 5 white knots. that's where the variation comes in. Once I get to the point where I need to switch colors again, I do not cut a piece of new orange cord. Instead, I find the cord that I used in the beginning of the row. I stretch this cord along the back of the tapestry to bring it closer to the working area. Afterwards, I simply use it to make 7 orange double half hitch knots. Reusing cord also works in the vertical direction. Let's say I want to add a row of plain orange knots. After that, I want to make a row with another white line. Instead of attaching a new white cord, I simply reuse the one that is left hanging from row number 2. Let's have a look at the back of the tapestry. You can see that in places where we reused the cord, it created some kind of loops going over the pattern. On the contrary, in places where we added new cord, it created loose ends that we will later need to secure. As you can see, at the moment, the pattern at the front side of the tapestry can get easily damaged. There are several ways how you can secure the ends. The first thing you can do is tie 2 ends together, making a little knot. You can then take it a step further and glue the ends to the tapestry. In general, this is a pretty solid method. However, if you avoid using glue in your work, then it might not be the right choice for you. Another thing you could do is use a craft needle to secure your ends. Start by picking an end and threading your needle. If you have a closer look at the back of your tapestry, you will notice that there is some kind of a pattern consisting of many loops. What you do next is basically pick one loop and thread your end through it. After that, you repeat the steps with another loop. I generally find that it's enough to let each end go through 2 loops. As you might have noticed, it's not an easy process, especially if you have a tendency to make your knots very tight like I do. Let me show you something. This was one of the first hangings I've ever done using vertical double half hitch knots. And this is the back of this tapestry. As you can see, I got quite frustrated. You can tell it by the fact that I never actually finished securing my ends. I even left the needle inside. When you have a hanging of this size, the amount of work you need to do to secure your ends is simply overwhelming. Anyway, at some point I thought to myself, there must be a way to secure the ends of my cords while I'm knotting my macrame. And eventually I found one. Let me show you with some thicker cord. This is a double half hitch knot. It is called like that because it consists of 2 half knots. This is the first half knot, this is the second half knot, and a little loop connecting them right in the middle. If I now tighten up this knot and turn it around, you can see that this is exactly one of the loops that create such a unique pattern at the back of your tapestry. That in turn means that while I'm knitting, my loose ends should go through this loop in between 2 half knots before I tighten it up. I know it sounds confusing now, but let's have a look at an example. I start a new project by making double half hitch knot. Like before, you can see the scheme of the rope I'm working on in the bottom left corner of the screen. With the very first knot, my first loose end is created, and I can secure it right away. I proceed with the second double half hitch knot. I make the first half, then I make the second half. However, I don't tighten it up just yet. Remember this loop in between 2 half knots? That's where my loose end should go through. I simply pull it through the loop and tighten up the knot. Let's check the back of the tapestry. As you can see, now my end goes through one loop, as if I would have threaded it with a needle. Next, I repeat the same steps with another knot. Like I said before, 2 knots is usually enough to secure one end. Now that this end is properly secured, we can move on to other knots. Next, let's have a look at changing colors. If you have a look at the design, you can see that I need to start off by making 4 orange knots, then make 7 white knots, and finish the rest of the row with orange knots. If I was using the previous method, I would change the cord at the point where I need it, that is after knot 4. However, this time I do things different and start adding white cord 2 knots in advance. Once I make knot number 3, I do not tighten it up. Instead, I take a piece of white cord and pull one end through the loop between 2 half knots. I then tighten up the orange knot while carefully holding the end of the white cord. At the back of the tapestry, you can clearly see that the white cord is now secured with one knot. I then repeat all the steps with the next knot. Once I get to knot number 4, I simply take the white cord and start knotting with it. I still have an orange end that I need to secure though. That's why before tightening up the first white knot, I place the orange cord into the loop in between 2 half knots, just like before. Repeat the same procedure for another knot. If we now look at the back of the tapestry, you can see that the white end is secured with 2 orange knots, whereas the orange cord is secured with 2 white knots. This will always be the case whenever you use this method to change colors, and there will always be at least 2 ends that you will need to secure. After I secure the orange cord, I can continue making regular white knots, but only till the point where I need to change color again. Two knots before I need to change color according to my design, I start connecting a new piece of orange cord. And of course, the second end of the white cord still needs to be secured for another 2 knots. After it's done, I finish the row by making 2 regular orange knots. This method can be quite complicated to understand, so I tried to simplify it with this scheme here. We made 7 white knots in total. The starting end of the white cord was secured with knots 3 and 4. The other end of it was secured with knots 12 and 13. Let's have a look at orange color now. We started by making 4 orange knots and then secured the end of the cord for another 2 knots. We then made a break and started attaching a new piece of cord on knots 10 and 11. Afterwards, we finish the row with another 4 orange knots. Combined together, the schemes look something like this. It's time for a slight variation. I will repeat exactly same pattern in this row. I repeat the first part of the row in exact same way. First I make 4 orange knots. I start weaving in the end of the white cord 2 knots in advance. I then secure the orange cord for 2 knots. However, this time I let the orange cord go through all white knots instead of only 2. This allows me to avoid adding a new piece of cord once I need to switch to orange color again. At the back of the tapestry you can see the difference. Previously we kind of split the orange cord at the beginning and at the end of the white row. This time we let the orange cord go all the way through white knots. It seems easier to let the cord go all the way through instead of splitting it, so why would you even want to split your cord? Well, consider a row where I need to make 11 white knots. From those, I only need 4 to secure my orange ends, 2 in the beginning and 2 in the end. By not letting the orange cord go all the way through white knots, I'm saving myself some good 7 centimeters of cord. With large projects, saving a bit of cord here and there can actually make a lot of difference. Now let's consider a case where I only need to make 4 white knots in the row. In this scenario, splitting the orange cord doesn't really make much sense. It will simply make no difference at all. By letting the orange cord go through all white knots, I avoid unnecessary ends. This should already be more or less enough information for you to get started with this method. However, I want to cover some edge cases too. For example, what happens when you are already at the end of the row, but you need to change color next row? I start by making a double half hitch knot, and like before, I make sure to place the white end into the loop between 2 half knots. I then tighten up the knot and pull my working orange cord to the left side so that I can continue making double half hitch knots in the opposite direction. I then make the first knot of the next row and again secure the white cord in between 2 half knots. I then tighten up the orange knot and slightly pull the white cord to the left side to hide this little white bump looking out from the back of my tapestry. And we are basically done here. Another edge case I wanted to have a look at is changing multiple colors in a row. Let's have a look at the following row. I need to make 4 orange knots and afterwards switch to blue color and make 1 blue knot. Afterwards I need to switch to yellow cord, make 4 knots and switch back to orange. I make 2 orange knots and with 3rd orange knot I start adding the blue cord. I then secured the blue cord with another knot. However, at this point I already need to start adding yellow cord, as I need to switch to yellow color in 2 knots. Next, I make a blue knot. At this point, I still need to secure the yellow cord, and at the same time I need to start securing the orange cord. After that, I switch to yellow color and make a yellow knot. At this point, I'm still weaving in the orange cord and I start to secure the blue cord. With the next yellow knot, I do not need to secure the orange cord anymore, and all I need to do is secure the blue cord. Now I'm done weaving in the blue cord. However, in 2 knots I need to switch to orange color again. That's why I use the next 2 yellow knots to add a new piece of orange cord. Once I switch to orange cord, I secure the yellow cord for 2 knots and finish off the row. At the back of the tapestry, you can see that there is some madness going on. At some points we had to change 3 cords simultaneously. In these places, the loop that the ends go through appears to be much larger. And this is one of the main problems with this method. It's quite hard to change a large number of colors simultaneously without compromising the quality of your knots. Let me show you with even more colors. In my next row, I need to make 3 orange knots and then switch to yellow color. After that, I need to make 1 blue knot and another purple knot. With my second knot, I start securing the yellow cord. With my third knot, I secure yellow and blue cord. With my fourth knot, I secure orange, blue and purple cord. With the fifth knot, I secure orange, yellow and purple cord. With the last knot, I secure yellow and blue cords. As you can see, the knots don't look that nice and straight anymore. At the same time, the back of the tapestry is getting messy and messier. Despite all of this, there is one great thing about this method. Once you've done with knotting, all you need to do is turn your tapestry around and cut off the ends. Unlike the previous method, which can take you hours to simply secure all the ends, this one will take you minutes to finish off. And that's the whole secret. I try to design my tapestries in a way that I don't need to change too many colors at the same time, and so far this method has worked pretty good for me. I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching it, and feel free to drop any questions that you might have in the comments below. I will see you next week.